As consumers, we all seek to get the maximum value from the things that we purchase. Through regular maintenance and repairs, prolonging the useful lifespan of our lawn and garden tools, bicycles, electronics, and other daily items means more money in our wallets and less waste at the transfer station. On today's episode of Good Day Kingston, we'll sit down with Jean Landis Naumann, chair of the Kingston Recycling Committee, to discuss their upcoming series of Fix-It clinics. These clinics, which will be led by skilled members of the Kingston community, will teach you the basics of bicycle maintenance, small engine repair, mending clothing, and much more. So if you have a busted lamp that needs to be rewired, or a bicycle with 2 flat tires, or if you have the know-how to change a spark plug on a weed whacker or hem a dress, then this episode is for you. Jean, thank you for joining us today. So you came on today to talk about the Fix-It clinics, and those are being sponsored by the Kingston Recycling Committee. Before we jump into the Fix-It clinics themselves, can you tell us a little bit about the Kingston Recycling Committee?
Kingston Recycling Committee has been together for many years. It's a small committee. We've attempted to do several things in the past. We try to celebrate Earth Day every year, and a couple of years ago, it poured rain the whole day. This year, the rain held off, but we had 40-mile-an-hour winds. So it was a very difficult day. So I think what we're going to do is switch that community event to, to May, when the weather is a little better.
Mm-hmm. Like the May that we're having right now?
Well, this is an unusual May. And the whole idea is to be sure that the residents have all the information they need on what can be recycled, how do you recycle it, where do other things go that can't be recycled. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we have the Hazardous Waste Day coming this Saturday at the Highway Barn. It's from 9 to 1, I believe. And for all those nasty things that you're not normally able to throw away, this is an opportunity to get them out of your house, out of your garage.
So that's like paints, oils, gas.
Oil paints.
Oil paints.
Oil paints. Latex paints, you simply dry out, and once they're dry, you can throw them in the trash. Don't throw them in wet. Makes quite a mess in the hopper. But old garden chemicals and old thinners and stuff that just shouldn't go in the trash. This will be an opportunity to get rid of that. What we've done in the last few years is try to slowly provide items to the public through grant money that encourages them to recycle. I don't know if you were around a couple of years ago, we did some nice little jar scrapers that had a message about mercury, because mercury is a terrible contaminant. If anything goes to it goes to sea mass that has mercury in it, they have to reject the load, and it can sit there for months, which ties up our equipment. So we did the jar scrapers; those were very well received. In the past, we've done different types of reusable shopping bags. Last year, we did a really nice quilted one that will keep your items cold in the warm weather. And this year we have a new supply of reusable shopping bags. We handed out quite a few on Earth Day, and Paul Basler tells me that every resident who applies for a trash sticker this year will receive a free bag.
That's great. So you work in close quarters with Paul and the folks at Streets, Trees and Parks?
Paul's in charge of what is now named, and I know this came up last night, it's officially called the Kingston Recycling and Disposal Center. We all still fondly call it the dump or the transfer station. But yes, that's his bailiwick. We work in conjunction with him and with his permission.
That's great. So,
and he's a very active member. He attends our committee meetings as often as he can. He and I have lots of chats about recycling issues.
Yep, I'm sure.
Because it's been a challenge for the town with the problems with our recyclables not being able to be sent to China.
Yeah.
Our American industry in processing recyclables has not kept up with the demand. So right now, there's a big push to get those processors in place, but it's not happening fast enough to take care of the recyclables that are now backing up. And we're being charged. Before, we used to get a rebate on some of those recyclables because it was material that could be sold and remanufactured. Now it's just piling up. So we're being charged
And that was
instead of
why
getting money back.
that was why the transfer stickers increased last year.
Absolutely. And, you know, Paul's watching that very closely. I know last night he came before the board to announce that he's going to keep the sticker prices the same. And that was after he and I had a long talk about it, because I know the prices are fluctuating quite a bit. Paul's always reluctant to cost the taxpayers more money, but I've urged him to be sure that we're covering the cost of what it actually costs to get rid of our recyclables. Now that we have a separate glass recyclable bin, that's helping somewhat, except we don't really have someplace to send the glass. But it is separated, and when you separate your materials, they're worth more to the processor, because then they don't have to spend time separating them. So breaking them out of the commingle was a big step. Getting rid of those bulky big plastic things, you know, like all the kids' toys, and we all have big plastic things that we buy, and then of course they're plastic and you get rid of them. So we now have a separate bin for that. The purer the product, the better money you get back from the processor, because it doesn't cost them as much to process it.
Now, I want to make sure I get this correct. So it's no longer the transfer station, it's the...
Kingston Recycling and Disposal Center.
Okay, so for residents who visit the Kingston Recycling and Disposal Center, they may also notice that we have a swap shop.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about the swap shop?
Yes, that was a long-term dream of our prior chairman, Jean Wyatt. He spent many years heading up the recycling committee, and I give him kudos for all the efforts he made there. He worked very closely with the schools, got them involved with recycling. But the swap shop was something that we knew other communities were using quite effectively to divert items out of the trash stream, also out of the recycling stream, and get them in the hands of other residents who could utilize them. So again, Paul Basler was our hero. He said, look, we've got this old construction trailer. What do you guys think? So we took a look at it. It seemed to be usable. So Paul and his staff helped us get it up to the transfer station, get it all set up. And then one of our committee members, David O'Connell, spent quite a bit of time in there building shelves so that items could be properly displayed. We spent a lot of time working on the rules, you know, what can go in there, what can't go in there. There's signage everywhere. Unfortunately, we seem to have a literacy problem in Kingston, and that people don't always read the signs and see what can go in there. So there are several of us that spend many hours a week there putting things where they're supposed to be, getting rid of things that we really can't allow in there. Things that sit there too long, we find another avenue for them, whether to recycle or maybe take them over to Savers or some other source. So there's constant movement of items in and out. It's been well received by the residents. Whenever I'm there, there are always people saying thank you. You know, we really like this. We're really glad we have this. I always find great things here. And the kids, we have it's divided into 3 sections. One section is children's. The middle section is small household, and the other section is sports equipment, outdoor equipment, small outdoor equipment, no engines, nothing like that. But what we've found is there are a tremendous number of books. So we now have 4 bookcases in there. Actually 5. We've got the children's books, and I've divided those up by age so that there's one for younger children and then one for teens, really. And then we have a paperback section, we have a hardback section, we have a food and nutrition section, and then we have a self-help, self-development, how do I do this section over in the sports thing. People are constantly bringing in books, and for a while I was taking our excess to the library for their book sale, and I was informed they couldn't take any more. So we have a good number of books, some really, really good books that people can use. And one of the things that we've discovered is that people will come there looking for a certain item. Like I had one woman come she was looking for wine glasses because she was having an event, but she said, I don't really need these after the event. And I said, bring them back. Let somebody else reuse them.
Mm-hmm.
So we see some of that with the books. You know, people who have shut-ins or seniors who like to read a lot, they'll come pick out some books for them, and when they're done reading them, they bring them back.
That's great.
So it's turned out to be really good. The issue we're running into is that it is an old construction trailer. It doesn't have a much longer life, and so we're reaching out looking for a new construction trailer of similar size.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably 10 by 40, 10 by 50. And it seems to be just the right size that our volunteers can maintain.
Yeah.
And we're always looking for volunteers to help. Just keep it looking nice and clean. Unfortunately, people just bring in boxes and bags of stuff and just drop them. And that doesn't help anyone. You know, it's got to be put out on the shelf so others can see what's there. We have minimal space, which means all the packaging needs to be removed. We can't have cardboard boxes and paper bags and plastic bags in there. There just isn't the room.
Yeah. And another project, and the project that you're here to talk about today, is I guess, geared towards the same thing, diverting some of that waste that would otherwise end up in the Kingston Recycling and Disposal Center. Thank you.
That was an official vote of the Board of Selectmen some years ago.
I need to brush up on past meeting minutes. So you're here to talk about the Fix-It Clinic. So can you tell me what is a Fix-It Clinic?
This is a concept that I learned about probably a year ago. I went to, the DEP has local representatives, and our local representative has been attending our committee meetings. He's a wealth of knowledge. And he invited me to a regional meeting they were having last May. And they brought in some speakers to talk about concepts such as the Fix-It Clinic or Repair Cafe. And it's basically allowing residents who know how to repair or maintain items to share that knowledge with their fellow residents. And instead of doing the repair, they coach the individual as to how to do it so that they're sharing their knowledge and skills with someone who doesn't have that knowledge. And so it allows the residents to get more value out of the things that they own, instead of saying, oh, well, you know, it's not working anymore, I guess I'll throw it away and get something new. This gives them an opportunity to take steps to put it back into working condition and not have to go out and purchase something else and dispose of that.
And the date of the first Fix-It Clinic, which is coming up, is May
25th.
25th.
I recognize it is Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's Saturday. It's just 9 to noon. And again, Paul Basler has generously offered to host it at the Highway Barn so that if our rainy season continues, we'll be inside. If the rainy season ceases for a day or so, hopefully it'll be both inside and outside. And we're focusing this time on our summer outdoor equipment and bicycles.
Great. And this is the first of a 3-part series, correct?
It is. Our second clinic will be held sometime in late fall, and that'll be on winterizing the same sort of equipment that we're talking about right now. And then over the winter, we hope to have a third clinic that will focus on more household type items. You know, how do I fix my glasses that come apart and I don't have the screw anymore, or how do I change the cover on my iPhone, or it could be a lot of different things. Excuse me. The things that we can offer are based on the people who volunteer as coaches. And right now, that's what I'm focusing on, is getting the right coaches in there with the skills that the residents are going to need to maintain or repair their equipment. I do have a professional bike company coming in, volunteering their time to help residents get their bikes ready for the summer season. And I have a couple other individuals who've got small motor experience who can help people replace spark plugs, carburetors, change the oil. I'm looking for people who maybe can show others how to restring their weed whackers or sharpen the blades on their equipment. All the things that we normally would use in our yards and our gardens over the summer, or our bicycles for exercise. So right now I'm busy recruiting individuals, and what we'll be able to offer will be based on the skills of those coaches.
So if I have a friend who's really, really good at restringing weed whackers, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Please get in touch with me. We've got posters all over town, and it's got information on how to contact me. It's simple. It's jln12@comcast.net, and I know they're going to put that up on the screen so people can see it. And if you know me, just call me, just contact me. We want to be sure that we have the right type of coaches available for the type of things that people are going to be bringing to us. Now, it's important that people recognize that they're going to have to do the repair themselves, which means that if they need oil or they need new spark plugs, they need to bring those with them. We're not going to have any supplies for them.
Now, does that go for tools as well?
They should bring their own tools. Our coaches will have some tools of their own, but if you're like me, you like to use your own tools, so you feel comfortable doing whatever it is that you need to do. If you come and we find that you don't have what you need, certainly we're going to send you off to get the items and then welcome you back to complete the repair.
Now, one thing that I like to tinker, and one thing that I often struggle with is how do I know whether or not something that I have is worth repairing, or if it's time to sever ties with my beloved chainsaw.
Right.
So is that something that these experts can also help us decide if I bring something and they
Yes,
can...
we're hoping that with the type of people who are volunteering as coaches, I'm sure that they're going to be able to take a look at it and go, it's time to put this guy to bed. He's done with. Or, this is a simple fix.
Yeah.
And this is all you need to do. You're missing a part here, or, we just need to tune it up, whatever it is. So, yeah, and it's not only focused on getting things repaired or maintained, it's also about community. As we know, our town has grown quite a bit, and what I hear from people is that they used to know everyone. They used to know their neighbors. They knew that Charlie across the street knew how to fix something, or John down the other end of town, you could call on him for something. Because we've grown, there's many more people, we all have very busy lives. We don't seem to have that community connection anymore, and while this is being sponsored by the Recycling Committee, it's also receiving a lot of promotional help from the Kingston Community Fund Committee. And if people haven't heard of that group, it's town departments and organizations coming together to support one another to provide the type of events in the community that help create that community sense, which is, I think, so important for people to feel that they're part of a community, that they know people that they can call on to help them out. So this is all part of that process of sponsoring and promoting good community events that allow people to come together, maybe meet someone they've never met before, maybe pick up a new skill that they've been wanting to develop. So I'm really excited to be a part of that group and to receive their support. And I'm hoping that over time the community will embrace some of these events and see them for what they are, that it's an important part of being a community. We used to have what's called old home days. So not only did you have the current residents get together, but you had former residents who would come back to see people that they had known that, for a portion of their life. We tried to resurrect that a few years ago. And I don't think we did it enough to get people back into the habit of doing that. But I'm hopeful that with the committee you and I are on, the North Plymouth 400th Committee, that maybe we can sponsor some events that will bring back that sense of we are a community, and that you do get to know the people who live in your community. Because we've got a lot of very nice, very talented people. And it seems a shame not to be able to share all that we have. There's a lot of real wealth here. And when I'm talking about wealth, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the other things that people bring. And I'm just hoping that this will be a successful part of this attempt to create more of a sense of community in Kingston.
And on a previous episode, we had two of the folks that are behind the Kingston Farmers Market on, and it's a very similar mission for them. It wasn't just to teach us about where our food comes from and to support local farmers and artisans, but to create that vibrant space where community members can come together. There it's once a month, but really, make those connections with neighbors, meet new friends, and just have that space to connect. So hearing about the Fix-It Clinic, it sounds like a real hands-on, STEM-oriented program. So I'm thinking about some of the younger folks in town who might be into tinkering and wanting to learn to fix things. Are there any age restrictions for participants?
No, absolutely not. And I have corresponded with the Silver Lake STEM committee group, and I'm waiting to hear back from the instructors there as to what volunteers they're going to have from the students. Because I'd like to see it be very intergenerational.
That would be fantastic. And if folks are watching and they want to go, is there any limit on how many items they can bring?
Not at this time. We'll have a reception desk for them to come up to, tell us why they're there, what type of repair or maintenance they're looking for. And we'll either have the type of coaches that can help them or take down that information that this is what people are looking for our future. We hope to make this a regular event in Kingston.
That'd be great. And again, so the clinic that's coming up is outdoor items, so weed whackers, hedge trimmers, lawn mowers, and bicycles. So things that you'd be getting ready to use in the summer months.
Correct.
The following will be how to winterize those items.
Yes.
And then the third installation will be some of the indoor projects that you can be doing. And I know in a previous conversation you referenced mending clothes and hemming skirts and all of those things. So what sorts of volunteers are we looking for, for those next
If you've got a skill, let me know, because I am sure that I can match you up with someone in town who is looking to learn that skill. So I'll take all comers. I don't care how esoteric it is. Let us know that you're willing to coach someone else in learning the things that you know, and we'll make it happen.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for everything that you're doing in the community to make sure that we have less items going to the Kingston Recycling and Disposal Center.
Yes.
We'll see if we can get that at the bottom of the screen
Great.
as well.
Very good.
And for helping residents prolong the useful lifespan of some of the things that we buy, because getting the maximum value from our purchases, I think, is something that we can all rally behind.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone is trying to save money wherever they can, and this is a great opportunity to do that.
Great. Well, I wish you success with your 3 clinics.
Well, I hope to see you there.
I have to go home and figure out what skill I have that I can lend to the
or if you have
sessions.
something that needs repair.
Yes, I think I might have a lamp or two that needs rewiring.
That would be a good winter project, yes.
Well, Jean, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity to share all this information with the community.